Part 8. The real daughter has become famous all over the world for fortune-telling. Author, Wang Crisp Bone. Chapter 71. Chapter 71. Don't think about moral kidnapping. This kind of looking at each other lasted for about a minute. Perhaps Pei Anzu's clean clothes and decent manners directly exceeded the Pei family's original expectations for her, so that the head of the family, Pei Chang, softened a lot. "It's good when you're back. Come sit down and eat first, we'll talk about the rest tomorrow. Sister-in-law Chen, get her a pair of bowls and chopsticks, and then clean up a room and come out." He was willing to speak nicely to his daughter, even if she was not dressed in rags and her behavior was not timid. It seems that it is not that unattractive. If this is the case, then his plans and arrangements will be smoother. Pei Chang's words seemed to break the stagnant air, like a switch, causing Zhou Yelan to express her stance. "Your name is Anzu, right? I am your mother." Pei Yu, the young master next to him, also spoke briefly and introduced himself. Pei Anzu looked at these three people, and they all seemed to have a friendly attitude. There was no such scene as looking down on the country bumpkin's real daughter, so he looked bored and had an impatient attitude. Even Pei Yu is different from his brothers in the true and false Jian Jinwen. At least he didn't warn her harshly. "I only have one sister, Pei Mingzhu. You'd better remember your identity clearly." Looks quite normal. However, this kind of friendliness is just an appearance. None of them left their chairs. If a family truly feels sorry for their biological daughter who is suffering away from home, they will inevitably relax and cry with joy when they see their biological daughter return to the family. Either give your daughter who has just returned a hug to let her feel the warmth of her relatives, or guiltily ask her how she is doing outside and let her know how she feels about making amends. Even if they have never gotten along, normal parents would not have this attitude. Polite and unfamiliar. It was as if this was not their daughter, but a guest from afar, but because this guest was still useful to them, they had to brace themselves to deal with it. What's more, Pei Chang also ordered his servants to clean up a room. If he really expected his daughter's return, this room should be prepared early. In just a few moments, Pei Anzu figured out the family's attitude. Her eyes swept over the faces of these three people, and she saw their faces clearly, and then she became more determined, so she said, "Mr. Pei, Mrs. Pei, Master Pei. There are no outsiders here, so let's open the skylight and speak openly. I'm not here to recognize my relatives, but to repay you for the gift of childbirth. Mrs. Pei was pregnant for 10 months, brought me into this world, and gave me life. I recognize this kindness and must repay it. As for the rest, let's not get involved too much. You may not want to recognize me, a daughter who comes from a rural background and is not on the stage, and I don't want to have relatives like you who are not familiar with me. If you have anything you need me to do, you can just say it. Within my ability, as long as it doesn't violate the law, doesn't violate morality, and doesn't have a negative impact on society, I'm willing to do my best to help. But after helping you this time, the relationship between me and you has ended, and the cause and effect have ended. I wonder what you think." While Pei Anzu was speaking, the Pei family had already put down their chopsticks. Pei Yu frowned slightly, as if he couldn't guess what she was thinking. After all, the daughter of the Pei family had a high status, so there were still people who didn't want her? Zhou Yelan's face was full of astonishment. She had never expected that her biological daughter who had been found would not want to recognize her, which made her a little sad and her eyes were red. As for Pei Chang, his face has darkened. "Do you know what you are talking about? You actually want to sever ties with the Pei family. As the daughter of the Pei family, since I have received the surname, I must be prepared to sacrifice for the interests of the Pei family. Don't forget, only when the Pei family remains standing can we provide shelter to you, the descendants of the Pei family." Pei Anzu's expression was hard to describe. He endured it again and again, but finally couldn't hold it back anymore. Why are you so thick-skinned? It's as thick as a piece of meat. What do you mean by severing ties with the Pei family? I have nothing to do with your Pei family at all. If you hadn't come to visit me, I wouldn't want to have anything to do with you at all. Also, is the surname Pei very powerful? Are you the only one with the surname Pei in the world? Everyone with the surname Pei must obey your arrangements. Who am I to be your Pei family's daughter? I haven't eaten a grain of rice from your Pei family, I haven't spent a penny from your Pei family, and I haven't enjoyed any of your Pei family's resources. Why should I sacrifice for your benefit? As for asylum, come on. In the past 20 years or so, I have grown up well without your protection, right? Don't slap yourself in the face and pretend to be fat. At best, you just had a good time more than 20 years ago and provided a sperm. You didn't suffer the pain of being pregnant for 10 months or the burden of raising a daughter. What qualifications do you have to speak nonsense in front of me? I am willing to negotiate terms with you in a good manner and repay you for the gift of childbirth. You should accept it as soon as possible. Don't try to kidnap me morally based on the blood relationship on Weibo. Pei Anzu has never had a good temper. Originally, she thought that since these wealthy families wanted to save face and acted tactfully, and did not want to leave a scandal to outsiders, she could negotiate with them. I didn't expect that. Zhou Yelan saw that Pei Jinchang was being criticized, and quickly launched a gentle policy, saying, Anzu, you are our daughter, and you are the real daughter of the Pei family. We finally got you back, how can we cut you off in two? You have suffered a lot these years outside without enough food or clothing, right? Don't worry, it won't happen again. Mom gives you a lot of pocket money every month, so you can buy whatever you want. Let's not say those angry words. Please sit down and have a nice meal with us, okay? Pei Anzu shook his head slowly, with a firm attitude. Not good. Mrs. Pei, I have made it very clear. I will do one thing for you to repay you for the gift of having children. I will not talk about anything else. As for what you said, I did have a difficult life in the past, but that is in the past. No matter how difficult the days are, I have come through them. Now that I have grown up, I have the ability to earn money to support myself, even if I am not as good as you. Rich and famous ladies spend a lot of money, but at least they have enough food and clothing. I want nothing from you, so you can expect nothing from me. I've said this, I won't eat anymore, and there's no need to clean up the room. I won't stay here. If you think about it, please ask Mr. Chen to contact me. After saying this, Pei Anzu turned around and left without hesitation. She doesn't have much, just a suitcase and a backpack. Considering her strength, this baggage is light. However, to get out of Pei's house, you need to get to the gate of the villa area, and you have to leave the entire villa area before you can get a taxi. She can only walk this way. End of this chapter. The real daughter has become famous all over the world for fortune-telling. Author, Wang Crisp Bone. Chapter 72. Chapter 72 Hitchhiking. In the Pei family restaurant, there was a gloomy atmosphere. Zhou Yelan couldn't help crying, but she still took into account the dignity of a wealthy lady and gently wiped her tears, trying not to lose her composure. Young Master Pei Yu was silent for a long time, then stood up and said, Father, I've eaten enough. Now I'm going to the hospital to see how Mingzu is recovering. After saying this, he turned and left. Pei Jinchang was so angry with Pei Anzu that he couldn't eat any more. He also got up and went upstairs, saying, by the way, Steward Chen, come to the study with me. Chen Henian followed Pei Jinchang upstairs and into the study. After closing the door, he heard the other party ask, Tell me exactly what happened after you met her. At this moment, Pei Jinchang only realized later. This biological daughter left behind seems completely different from what he imagined. He had briefly imagined Pei Anzu's character before. Either because he has suffered too much and suddenly learns that he is a real daughter, his vanity is bursting and he asks for more benefits from the Pei family. Either because they are lonely and helpless, they are extremely longing for family affection, they are greedy for the warmth of family, and they have extra requirements for their family. But he never thought that with the wealth and status of the Pei family, there would be people eager to repay the favor and draw a clear line. If this is really the case, then his previous plan will not work. So, it is necessary for him to increase his understanding of her and then make other plans. Pei Anzu walked out of the gate of Junlinchengzia villa area. In the surprised and wary eyes of the security guard, he left without looking away, as if he didn't take this expensive villa area seriously at all. The night is dark and the autumn wind is cold. The clear brilliance of the moonlight spreads on the ground, intersects with the lights on both sides of the road, and reflects the shadows of the woods on the roadside. Suddenly, a burst of light came from not far ahead, and the car's high beam was particularly dazzling. Pei Anzu raised his hand to cover it, and waited until the other party changed the high beam to low beam before putting it down. Then he saw the car parked next to him. The driver's seat window opened, revealing a familiar face. Master Pei. Pei Anzu looked around and saw that the driver of the Shen family was Li Qiuqan, whom he had met before. Last time she came to Yunqing, driver Li was responsible for picking up and dropping off her. Later, by chance, she also rescued driver Li's daughter Li Yuanyuan. Uncle Li. Pei Anzu nodded in greeting. It's so late, why are you here? Li Qiuqan asked smoothly, and then he felt that he should not inquire about the master's personal affairs, so he quickly said, Master Pei, where are you going? I will take you there. As he spoke, he got out of the car and picked up Pei Anzu's suitcase. No need, Mr. Li should be going to Shen's house, right? Don't delay because of me, Pei Anzu refused. No delay, Li Qiuqan said, you are my savior and Mr. Shen's guest. If Mr. Shen knew that I asked you to go out and take a taxi alone, then I wouldn't have to do this job. Li Qiuqan said as he put Pei Anzu's luggage in the trunk. He then explained that there was nothing wrong with him going to Shen's house. It was just that the car had just been taken out for maintenance and it was just being sent back after the maintenance was completed. There would be no delay if it was delayed. After hearing this, Pei Anzu made sure not to delay the other party's business, so he got into the car. Li Qiuqan breathed a sigh of relief and waited for Pei Anzu to sit down before starting the vehicle, turning around and driving out. In fact, he knew it well. Even if Mr. Shen knew that he had used the car for other purposes, if he knew that the person he gave it to was Master Pei, Mr. Shen would not only not blame him, but would also reward him. After all, a capable master is much more important than those empty rules. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The real daughter has become famous all over the world for fortune-telling. Author, Wang Crisp Bone. Chapter 73. Chapter 73, Drive People Out. Learning that Pei Anzu was looking for a place to live, Li Qiuqan sent her to a nearby hotel. Master Pei, this is a hotel owned by the Shen family, sir. I have already given instructions before that you can spend as much as you like on any property owned by the Shen family. In other words, as long as the Shen family survives, Pei Anzu will never have to worry about anything in the country. Pei Anzu did not refuse this arrangement. This was the good relationship she had formed with the Shen family. After thanking Li Qiuqan, Pei Anzu got out of the car with his luggage, went to the hotel, opened a room, and checked in. It's very late. Pei Anzu didn't eat at Pei's house, but she still wanted to eat, so she ordered a takeaway. While waiting for the takeout, she logged into the Dolphin live broadcast platform, read the private messages in the background as usual, and then posted a notice on Weibo. Tomorrow at 9 o'clock in the morning, the Kingzhou Fairy Lord live broadcast room is waiting for you, see you there or not. She has no intention of getting involved in the Pei family's things, so what should be broadcast live must be broadcast live. This is the foundation of her standing in this world. After the previous live broadcasts, Pei Anzu has more than 200,000 fans. Suddenly seeing the news that she announced the launch of the broadcast, they all became excited. Oh my god, what did I see? It starts broadcasting tomorrow. Previous live broadcast previews were for 3 days, this time it is tomorrow, the green bamboo immortal lord is mighty. Ha ha ha, tomorrow is Saturday, and I have a holiday. I have prepared popcorn with spicy melon seeds and spicy sticks overnight, and I am waiting for tomorrow's live broadcast. Upstairs Ad 1. As fans' comments spread, the number of reservations for Pei Anzu's live broadcasts skyrocketed, exceeding 100,000 in just over 2 hours. This kind of activity is very beneficial to the Dolphin live streaming platform. Kui Yun, who was responsible for signing Pei Anzu, received praise from senior leaders and even received a large bonus. Kui Yun's inner OS after receiving the bonus. As expected of Master Pei, the money-attracting Feng Shui bureau he helped improve at his home really worked. It didn't take long for the wealth to come. Of course, Pei Anzu had no idea about all this. After eating the takeaway and washing up, she lay down to rest, intending to be in the best condition for the next day's live broadcast. At the same time, Li Qiuqan returned to the Shen family and told Shen Qinghe about his encounter with Pei Anzu. Sir, I saw that Master Pei came out of Junlinchengxia community and was carrying her luggage, so I sent her to the hotel on my own initiative. It's my fault that I didn't report this to you in advance. Shen Qinghe did not blame, but praised. You have done a good job. Master Pei is very kind to the Shen family. It is our honor to be able to help her. But, I'm curious, why did she leave the world? He vaguely remembered that when he first met Master Pei, he claimed to be from Pingcheng, but why did he show up here with luggage this time? Maybe I know why. Mrs. Shen said after hearing this. Under Shen Qinghe's questioning, Mrs. Shen told the gossip news she heard during this period. Although this matter has not been publicly acknowledged, everyone in the circle who is well informed knows that the daughter raised by the Pei family is a fake daughter. I saw that Master Pei looked familiar before. Thinking about it carefully, she is really similar to Mrs. Pei. At the time when the fake daughter of the Pei family made trouble, what does it mean for her to appear here? I don't need to say it anymore, right? Shen Qinghe understood that Master Pei was the real daughter who was living abroad. Li Qiuqan didn't understand after hearing the news. Since Master Pei has been found, why did she let her carry her luggage and leave alone at night? Shen Qinghe couldn't help but sneer. It seems like something the Pei family would do. Lao Li, please explain it to me and ask the hotel to take good care of it, let alone leak any information about Master Pei. I would like to see what the Pei family was thinking about driving out a powerful Suanman master. End of this chapter. The real daughter has become famous all over the world for fortune-telling. Author, Wang Crisp Bone. Chapter 74. Chapter 74. The fourth live broadcast. At 9 o'clock in the morning the next day, the Qingzu Immortal Lord live broadcast room opened on time. A large number of fans and viewers rushed in immediately. This huge number of activities made the popularity of the live broadcast room of Qingzu Xianjun skyrocket. Soon, it climbed to the recommendation position of daily selections, and also occupied the big picture promotion in the middle. As recommendations expand and exposure increases, more viewers will enter, forming a perfect virtuous cycle. There was a loud bang in the sky, and I made a shining appearance. Snacks are ready, sit back and wait. Old fan, I have followed you from the first live broadcast to now. I look forward to Qingzu Xianjun bringing us more knowledge. Applause, please invite the next person who is destined. The audience watched the screen one after another. Pei Anzu, wearing a Nyo mask, interacted with everyone while watching as usual, and occasionally answered some questions from fans. King Zu, immortal lord, I would like to ask how to improve your luck in peach blossoms. I have been single for 23 years, and I have almost no luck with the opposite until now. Faced with the pressure from my family to get married, I am almost desperate. You can just wear a peach blossom charm or a peach blossom bracelet, but you need to be careful not to buy blindly outside, otherwise you may not attract peach blossom luck, but a peach blossom disaster. If you need it, you can send me a private message in the background. Then I will take a look at your face and horoscope, and customize one for you. Of course, the cost is extra. King Zu, immortal lord, how can I improve my academic performance? I am a senior in high school. I get up earlier than chickens and go to bed later than dogs, but I still can't study. What should I do? Looking at your score, do you want to learn but can't learn, and are inefficient, or do you simply resist learning and hate learning from the bottom of your heart? If it's the latter, then I suggest you start planning your life from now on. Learning is not the only way out. Your talents and abilities may be in another field. But if it's the former, you can worship Wenchang Bodhisattva, or place a Wenchang tower on your desk. Wenchang is the master of study and luck. Proper worship can make your eyes and ears clear, your mind clear, and your learning efficiency will be improved accordingly. I provide carving services for Wenchang Pagoda and Wenchang Bodhisattva. The price is extra. The viewers in the live broadcast room have already reached a high level of trust in Pei Anzu after witnessing her previous fortune tellings. If you have any questions now, I am willing to ask them on the live broadcast room barrage and seek answers. Pei Anzu is not shy with her words and can easily answer their questions or doubts. She will also hide them. She will give them guidance and help others avoid detours, which can be regarded as accumulating merit. Just like this, an hour passed. At 10 o'clock, the familiar Seaview Villa special effects appeared on the screen, and the first destined person appeared, who directly selected the video link. Pei Anzu connected, and the other party's figure quickly appeared on the screen. A young girl. She looks to be in her mid-20s, wearing a white wedding dress, her hair is styled like a princess, and she wears a diamond crown on top of her head. She looks very delicate and beautiful. However, there was no joy in getting married in the other person's eyes, but rather a bit of anxiety. Holy shit. Bride. Sister, are you getting married today? You should be preparing for the ceremony at this time, right? Why did you come to watch the live broadcast? I know, the young lady must want to calculate whether her marriage will be happy in the future. As long as King Zu Fairy Lord gives her a word of affirmation, that will be reassurance. Premarital phobia? End of this chapter. The real daughter has become famous all over the world for fortune telling. Author, Wang Chris Bone. Chapter 75. Chapter 75. I suspect there is something wrong with my husband. The audience expressed their opinions on the barrage. The young girl in the wedding dress is nicknamed Mo Shang Xiao Xiao Yu. She didn't care about the speculation on the barrage. She looked at Pei Anzu and did not immediately say what needed to be solved. She only said lightly, I don't know who to tell this to, it's driving me crazy. I am now in the hotel room, waiting for the wedding ceremony to be held, and I will marry him soon, but there is no joy in my heart, but panic. I once tried to talk to my best friends and parents, but they didn't believe me. I have lived for 26 years, and this is the first time I feel so alone. Mo Shang Xiao. The tone is light and the face is expressionless, as if he is telling someone else's story. If it weren't for the pain hidden in her eyes that could hardly be suppressed, everyone would almost think that she was making trouble unreasonably. Holy shit, there's a big melon at the beginning. There is no joy but panic before getting married. Is this because you are forced to get married? Most likely, the parents are interested in the man's honesty, so they force their daughter to marry someone they don't like, and thus enter the grave of marriage. The truth may have been revealed upstairs, but I don't understand why my best friend doesn't understand her either. You should examine the question carefully. What the young lady is saying is that her parents and best friends don't believe her. I always feel that things are not that simple. Pei Anzu let the audience guess, but he looked at the girl's face in silence, and then frowned tightly. This Mo Shang Xiaoxiao should have died 3 years ago. There is a catastrophe in her life that cannot be overcome. If she touches it, she will die. There is no room for change. Now she can live well, unless someone uses magic to help her survive. Thinking of this, Pei Anzu's face gradually became serious. The law of life and death is one of the most supreme laws in all the heavens and the universe, and no one can change it. Changing one's destiny against the will of nature is easy to say, but it requires paying a very heavy price. But there are very few people in the world who are really willing to risk everything to change their fate against nature. Most of them are those who take advantage of loopholes, that is, sorcery. I just don't know which one Mo Shang Xiaoxiao encountered. What can I help you with? Pei Anzu asked. Hearing this, Mo Shang Xiaoxiao paused and then said, I suspect that my soon-to-be married husband has a problem, but I can't find any evidence that he has a problem. Kingzu Immortal Lord, can you understand? He and I met on a blind date 3 years ago. He is a university teacher. He is handsome, elegant in conversation, knowledgeable, gentle and courteous. All the beautiful words can be used to describe him. People always like to be confused by appearances. The first time I met him, I was deeply attracted to him, and then we naturally started to contact and date him. After that, our relationship warmed up and we talked about getting married. After he proposed to me, he and I moved in together. It was during this period of living together that I discovered something was wrong with him. He doesn't seem to need to sleep. No matter what time I wake up at night, I can see his eyes staring at me blankly. How to describe the look in his eyes? It's like a hungry wolf. When it sees its prey, its eyes are filled with possessiveness and it is determined to get it. Sometimes I am frightened and show a little resistance, and he shows his fierceness, as if he wants to get me, eat the same. I have mentioned this matter to my parents and best friends several times, but they all think that it is a sign of his love for me. They said that I am lucky to find such a perfect man in my lifetime. He has a decent job, a good family background, and a good upbringing. He is gentle and considerate to me, and he is courteous to my relatives and friends around me. Everyone tells me not to be ungrateful, and not to be arrogant. But whenever I think about that look in my eyes, and the way he stares at me every time I wake up in the middle of the night, I still have lingering fears. Kingzu Immortal Lord, am I really being too pretentious? End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The real daughter has become famous all over the world for fortune telling. Author, Wang Chris Bone. Chapter 76. Mo Shang Xiaoxiao's voice is very nice. When talking about these things, it feels like he is eloquently speaking, which makes the audience in the live broadcast room feel very involved. So, everyone left messages one after another. Hey. It sounds scary. If there was someone next to me who stayed up all night and kept staring at me, I would be scared crazy. I think it's the young lady's boyfriend who loves her too much, right? What kind of love can be in this state? This is obviously not normal. How can you see the other person staring directly at you every time you wake up? One thing to say, I didn't hear any problem anyway. The young lady is definitely being pretentious. It would be great to meet such a good person. No brains upstairs? People say it's scary in the middle of the night. Perhaps it was her own illusion? Maybe she is mentally ill? In short, half of the audience supported Mo Shang Xiaoxiao and half of the audience criticized her. Everyone expressed their opinions and argued endlessly. Pei Anzu ignored the others and just said, "Marriage is not a child's play. It is like drinking water, knowing whether it is hot or cold. If your heart, your intuition, and everything about you is telling you to retreat or resist, it may be God giving you a warning. I would like to know, did you and your fiancé have a wedding date? If not, would you mind telling me your birth dates? I can help you figure out whether he is your beloved. Mo Shangxiao seems to know Pei Anzu's live broadcast room very well. Shen Geng's horoscope has been prepared long ago, written on a white paper, and held up in front of the camera. As soon as Pei Anzu saw these two horoscopes, his expression suddenly changed. One of them is the difficulty of surviving the calamity of death and the tenacious persistence of life, which even consumes the merits accumulated in this life and overdrafts the blessings in the next life. If it continues, I am afraid that the 3 lives will not end well. This is obviously the horoscope of Mo Shangxiao. As for the other, that is the horoscope of a dead person. If Pei Anzu read it correctly, the owner of this horoscope has been dead for at least 300 years. Your feeling is not wrong. It's not that you are too pretentious, but that he really has a problem. Pei Anzu said seriously, where are you holding the wedding? You can't get married, and this matter can't be solved by regretting the marriage. Yes, tell me your address. There are too many mysteries surrounding Mo Shangxiao. Not only will he change his destiny against heaven, he will even marry a dead man. Furthermore, Pei Anzu noticed that she mentioned a time, 3 years. The time when her blind date appeared happened to be the time when she survived the disaster and was able to survive. There must be a connection. For the current plan, we can only let Mo Shangxiao find a way to delay the wedding and wait until Pei Anzu arrives to solve the matter. While speaking, Pei Anzu had already opened the mobile ticket booking software, waited for Mo Shangxiao to tell her the address, and then immediately bought the ticket. Mo Shangxiao heard Pei Anzu's words and was stunned for a moment. Suddenly a burst of joy burst out of his eyes, and he said uneasily, I am in Yunqing, holding a wedding at the Lanting Hotel. There are still 2 hours before the wedding ceremony. I deliberately damaged the wedding dress to delay the wedding. Kingzu Immortal Lord, can you make it there? Pei Anzu paused after hearing this. It won't take that long. It's a coincidence. I'm currently in Yunqing and staying at the Lanting Hotel. Which floor are you on? I'll come find you. Lanting Hotel is a property of Shen Group. Li Qiuakan sent her here last night. When she checked in, she saw several staff carrying wedding flowers and balloons in the lobby, but she didn't pay much attention. Unexpectedly, the person holding the wedding was actually Mo Shangxiao. This is such a coincidence. The real daughter has become famous all over the world for fortune-telling. Author, Wang Chris Bone. Chapter 77. Lanting Hotel has a dedicated banquet hall that can be used to hold cocktail parties and weddings. The wedding of Mo Shangxiao was held in the largest hall on the 3rd floor, called Xi. It was large enough to accommodate 3,000 people at the same time. Judging from this scale, Mo Shangxiao must also be from a wealthy family. After Pei Anzu learned the address, he started to prepare to go downstairs. She first switched to the mobile live broadcast room, put on a Bluetooth headset, and then attached a mini external camera to her collar. This mini external camera was something she bought in Pingcheng before. At that time, she was shopping for an old Taoist priest in the mall, and happened to come across this mini camera that looked like a button, so she thought about buying one to facilitate live broadcast. After all, she had to go to the scene to catch ghosts several times. Although it was convenient to switch to live broadcast on her mobile phone, holding her phone up all the time would inevitably get in the way. With this external mini camera, she doesn't have to hold her phone all the time. After getting ready, Pei Anzu went to the 3rd floor of the Lanting Hotel, arrived at the Xi Hall, followed the wedding guests, and mixed in. The hall was filled with tables and seats. Many guests had already arrived, gathering in 2s and 3s at the same table, chatting and greeting each other. Everything was normal. No one could have imagined that this was a wedding that was destined to fail. The audience in the live broadcast room followed Pei Enzu's perspective and saw all this. Wow, the wedding venue is so dreamy. This is a thoughtful look. If there is no problem with the young lady's husband, I will bless her and lock her to death. But now, I just feel terrible. How deep of scheming can you pretend to be so comprehensive? It is indeed a wedding of a wealthy person. The champagne roses on both sides of the red carpet on the stage are sold by the piece. Each rose is worth a lot of money, but there is actually a row here. At this moment, Moshang Xiaoxiao had already seen the wedding scene through the mini camera, and she knew that Pei Enzu was coming. But Pei Enzu didn't look in the mirror, so he didn't wear the Nyo mask, so Moshang Xiaoxiao didn't know what Pei Enzu looked like. So she said, "King Zhu, immortal lord, I'm waiting for you in the lounge, find a waiter to bring you in." Pei Enzu paused, followed what Moshang Xiaoxiao said, found the restroom, and met Moshang Xiaoxiao himself. There is no one else in the lounge except Moshang Xiaoxiao. The first time she saw Pei Enzu, she was surprised for a moment. She felt that the Suanman master was so young, but then she shook her head. Age means nothing. As long as you have the ability, youth will only make people look higher. King Zhu, immortal lord, please sit down. Moshang Xiaoxiao said, I am really glad to have your help. I wonder what we are going to do now. Pei Enzu glanced at her and said, let me tell you the truth first. Your fiancé has an unusual identity. He is an existence that you may not be able to accept. You'd better be mentally prepared. Moshang Xiaoxiao was silent for a moment, seemed to have thought of something, and asked, is he a ghost? Actually, this is not difficult to guess. Pei Enzu is a master of metaphysics, and the most common thing is to deal with various monsters, but in Moshang Xiaoxiao's knowledge, she does not know that there are monsters in this world. So, it's not surprising that you can guess that your fiancé is a ghost. After hearing this, the audience in the live broadcast room held their breath in unison, waiting for Pei Enzu's answer. Yes, Pei Enzu answered decisively. The real daughter has become famous all over the world for fortune-telling. Author, Wang Crisp Bone. Chapter 78. Even though she had been mentally prepared, a deep panic still flashed across Moshang Xiaoxiao's eyes, and her throat became tight. Why did he find me? Then you have to ask him himself, Pei Enzu said and suggested, call him over before the wedding is held. The wedding ceremony is a kind of contract. For gods and ghosts, contracts are recognized by heaven at certain times. Once Moshang Xiaoxiao holds a ceremony with the ghost who has been dead for 300 years, a contract is formed between the two people. At that time, I still don't know what bad impact it will have on Moshang Xiaoxiao. Moshang Xiaoxiao dialed her fiancé's phone number. She didn't dare to say too much for fear of revealing her secret, so she just said that she suddenly remembered that she had something important to discuss and asked him to come to the lounge. Pei Enzu waited for her to finish the call and confirm that the other party was coming, then slowly stood up. She took out a stack of talismans that she had already drawn from her backpack, then looked around the restroom, and then stuffed the talismans into different places one by one. Behind the corner flower pot, under the coffee table, under the sofa, behind the oil painting hanging on the wall. Looks like chaos, but is actually orderly within the chaos. The entire talisman is connected to form a special pattern. Without any spatial imagination, I really can't see this. At least according to Moshang Xiaoxiao, Pei Enzu is just hiding talismans everywhere. As soon as Pei Enzu put the talisman away, there was a knock on the door of the lounge, followed by a deep and mellow voice, gentle and polite. Xiao, I'm coming in. As soon as he finished speaking, the door handle was turned, and a handsome man walked in from the outside. Pei Enzu turned around and looked over. The mini camera on his collar captured his clear face. The beauty attack directly took the breath away from the audience in the live broadcast room. So handsome. 3 minutes, I want all the information about this man. Ah, what a noble face. It's like the hero walked out of a novel. Mom, I thought all ghosts had scary faces, but I didn't expect them to have such stunning looks. It's not a bad thing at all. Are you upstairs crazy? Does the 3 senses follow the 5 senses? That is, don't act like a nymphomaniac whenever you see a handsome person, that's a ghost. Everyone is talking loudly, maybe they will die at some point. Zhao Yanchu, the fiancé of Moshang Xiaoxiao, closed the door of the lounge with his backhand, walked in, glanced at Pei Anzu suspiciously, and asked. Xiao, you said you have something important to discuss with me, what is it? Moshang Xiaoxiao, the full name is Qin Xiao. She looked at her fiancé and then at Pei Anzu. She didn't know what to say for a moment, so she only looked at Pei Anzu for help. Pei Anzu stood in front of Qin Xiao and said. Mr. Zhao, I'm looking for you. Who are you? Zhao Yanchu then focused on Pei Anzu. At this time, Pei Anzu was also looking at him. This is a ghost with no ghostly aura at all, and his strength has reached the level of a ghost king. He has completely restrained all the resentment, hostility, yin, and death that belong to ghosts. Not only does he have a solid body, he is not even afraid to walk in the sun. Overall, he looks like an ordinary person. Even a Taoist practitioner with no Taoist skills can hardly tell that he has been dead for 300 years. Let me introduce myself. I am a member of Suanmen, and my name is Kingzu Immortal Lord. Pei Anzu nodded politely at the other party. She did not forget that she was live broadcasting, so she did not give her real name, only her nickname. As soon as she finished speaking, Zhao Yanchu's expression changed instantly. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The real daughter has become famous all over the world for fortune telling. Author, Wang Crisp Bone. Chapter 79. Zhao Yanchu is the Ghost King. At his level, unless he is willing, ordinary people will never be able to tell that he is a ghost, except for those with advanced Taoism. The young woman in front of her looks to be in her early 20s, even younger than her fiancé Qin Xiao. But the golden light of merit emanating from her body cannot be ignored. Zhao Yanchu stared at Pei Anzu and said coldly. Kingzu Immortal Lord, this is the grudge between Xiao Yu and I advise you not to meddle in other people's business. Suanmen emphasizes cause and effect. If you get involved too much, I'm afraid it will be difficult to overcome the inner demons in the future. Pei Anzu didn't care about his threats and only said. Suanmen does emphasize cause and effect, but Suanmen also punishes evil and promotes good. It takes care of all kinds of injustices in the world of yin and yang. If there is a problem with Miss Qin, I will take care of it. Mr. Zhao, I'll give you 2 choices. Either take the initiative to confess everything, and I will help you both choose the most beneficial solution and strive to satisfy both of you. Either I will subdue you and then use other methods to force you to confess everything, but by that time, I will not be able to control whether you will be suppressed and tortured in the 18th level of hell, or whether your soul will be completely destroyed. For Pei Anzu, Qin Xiao's matter is not nothing. First, Qin Xiao entered her live broadcast room and rewarded her with a sea view villa worth 1,000 yuan. According to her own rules, she was a destined person. She cannot refuse when someone who is destined asks for help. This is also a cause and effect. Second, Qin Xiao was forced to live longer even though it was difficult for her to die, which consumed her own merits and blessings. She was obviously unaware of this matter. That means someone is using evil magic to take advantage of the situation, and evil magic disrupts the order of the world, and it is something that people in Taoism must eradicate. Hence, Pei Anzu has to take care of both emotion and reason. After Zhao Yanchu heard this, his eyes were cold and his handsome face was full of murderous intent, without any of the gentleness before. I have a third option. Kill you, lest you spoil my big thing. After saying this, Zhao Yanchu unfolded the ghosts and locked up the space in the lounge. No one outside could enter, and no one inside could get out. This is the real, absolute space that belongs to the Ghost King. In this space, the Ghost King has an absolute home field advantage. No matter how high the level of Suanman practitioners are, their strength will be greatly reduced in the Ghost King's ghost world. This is Zhao Yanchu's confidence. Pei Anzu saw Zhao Yanchu's attack and responded immediately. She put her arms around Qin Xiao's shoulders, took him back a few steps, and pushed her into the corner. Stay here and don't move, be careful if we fight and accidentally hurt you. After saying that, Pei Anzu stuffed an amulet into Qin Xiao's hand to ensure her safety. After doing this, Pei Anzu walked towards Zhao Yanchu to greet him. The power of the Ghost King is powerful. With a wave of his hand, a black whip appeared, with a strong blood evil aura on it. It was obvious that the whip was a terrifying ghost weapon that had been stained with a lot of human blood. The whip seemed to be alive in Zhao Yanchu's hand, like a thin snake that suddenly sprang out and wrapped around Pei Anzu's body. The whip was tied around Pei Anzu several times, binding her arms so that she could not move. The next second, Zhao Yanchu opened his right hand with his palm facing outward. A vortex appeared in his palm, as dark as an undetectable abyss. The vortex carries a strong suction force, absorbing Pei Anzu's vitality. The essence, flesh, and blood of people in Suanman are the best tonics for ghosts. Inhaling a person in Suanman can increase their cultivation for many years. Hence, Zhao Yanchu showed no mercy at all. However, just when he thought he was sure of victory, Pei Anzu made a move. The real daughter has become famous all over the world for fortune-telling. Author, Wang Crisp Bone. Chapter 80. Although Pei Anzu's arms were restrained, his hands could still move. Her fingers were flying, making seals, and a ray of light emerged from her fingertips and fell on the black whip that bound her. That is the golden light of merit. In an instant, the whip ignited as if gasoline had been poured on it. The golden light of merit spread on the black whip at the fingertips, like a fiery snake, entwining around Pei Anzu's body. To those who don't know, it looks like flames are about to burn Pei Anzu's entire body. But only Zhao Yanchu knew that his cultivation was rapidly losing. This black whip is a natal ghost weapon developed from his ghost body. It is linked to his cultivation level. The higher his cultivation level, the more powerful the whip will be. Since he became a Ghost King, he has rarely encountered an opponent, so this whip has never failed. So much so that he forgot that the natal ghost weapon will also affect his cultivation level. When the whip is greatly damaged, it will cause the loss or regression of his cultivation level. The golden light of merit can destroy all evils. The merits accumulated by Pei Anzu, a good man in his 10th life, were used to burn a whip full of blood evil energy. It was completely overkill. In fact, with just a little bit, she was able to completely dissolve the evil spirit on the whip. Soon, the color of the whip changed from dark black to light gray, then became lighter, and finally became transparent and disappeared. Zhao Yanchu's ghost body was also severely damaged the moment the whip disappeared. In an instant, his face turned pale, and his originally solid ghost body became much more transparent, making him almost weak and visible to the naked eye. The whip disappeared and Pei Anzu was out of trouble. Are there any other tricks? If not, it's my turn. After finishing his words, Pei Anzu directly raised his hand, put his index finger and together, and swiped toward the sky. The originally unbreakable ghost space suddenly burst. A hole was opened. The 300-year-old Ghost King, the spatial confinement he was most proud of, was simply vulnerable to Pei Anzu. Upon seeing this, Zhao Yanchu knew that he was outmatched and no longer wanted to fight. He turned around and was about to walk out through the wall. If he can't be beaten, he will run away. You can't get out. Pei Anzu's voice was calm and indifferent. It was just 5 words, but it was like a terrible curse. The next second, the ghost's face was completely shattered, revealing the original appearance of the lounge. The talismans that Pei Anzu had hidden everywhere began to work, and red lines appeared between the talismans. The red thread glowed with golden light and shrank rapidly. In the blink of an eye, it Zhao Yanchu, restraining his limbs and preventing him from moving. Just as he Pei Anzu before. The audience in the live broadcast room cannot see Pei Anzu herself through the mini camera, but they can clearly see all her movements. After her fight with Zhao Yanchu, the audience exclaimed. The red line appeared out of thin air and glowed with gold. Awesome. Isn't this really a special effect? I'm so sorry, I can't describe my feelings. This is much better than the 50-cent special effects on TV. Is this something I can watch without paying? King Zhu, Immortal Lord, what is there that you can't do? You can beat the century-old ghost whenever you want, and tie up the 300-year-old ghost king whenever you want? Quick! Beat him up. I want to hear the story. Add one upstairs. I also want to know why this ghost wants to find Miss Mo Shang Xiaoxiao. What kind of hatred is there? Pei Anzu was busy fighting with Zhao Yanchu, so he naturally had no time to watch the barrage. But Mo Shang Xiaoxiao squatted in a safe corner, holding the talisman given by Pei Anzu in his hand, and felt reassured as he watched the audience's admiration and praise for Pei Anzu.